Welcome to Open House with Gerry Cornejo, where we feature people, places, and things that are in the news or who should be in the news. And very much in the news and will be for the next 2-3 years would be the Commission on Elections. And very important is the coming elections is coming 2016. And to tell us the details of the elections, how it's going to be conducted, how many people are expected to register and to vote, and more importantly, how you can participate in the coming 2016 elections. We have the spokesperson of the Commission on Elections, Mr. James Jimenez. James, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, sir.
Okay, James, so we're going to have elections in 2016.
Yes.
It's a presidential elections.
Yes.
Okay, so pinaka-importante ito. Pinaka-importante. Last time we had this was, of course, in 2010.
The presidential elections in 2010.
2010.
Yes.
So this coming 2016, the election is going to be on the second Monday of May.
That's right. That's right.
Second Monday of May 2016. Ngayon, importante rito ngayon, very important is how to register. Because there's a new system that's going on now, hindi natawag na
Biometrics.
Biometrics.
Right.
Okay. So can you please tell us first who are eligible to vote?
People who are 18 years old and above, and who meet,
Excuse me, 18
yes,
years old and above on the day of the elections?
on the day of the elections.
Not on the day of registration?
Not on the day of registration.
Okay, so
they have to be 18 or older on the day of elections, which
Okay.
is the second Monday of May in 2016. And they have to meet the residence requirements, which means that for the most part, 1 year for people who are running, 6 months in the place where they propose to vote by May 2016. So that means that if you live, let's say now in Quezon City, but you want to vote in, say, Iloilo, then you have to have transferred your residence to Iloilo 6 months before the elections in May. So, dalawa lang po, just the residency and the age requirements.
So 18 years old by election day,
Yes.
which is May 2016.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and 6 months residency
In that place.
in that place.
Right.
Okay.
If you're running for office,
Okay.
and you also have to be a registered voter in order to run, you have to have a residency of 1 year in that place. So it's longer for potential candidates. But for just regular voters, 6 months is fine.
Okay, let's begin with the new voters. So
Yes, sir.
some people are listening now and they're saying, oh, I'm going to be 18 by May, or I'm going to be 18 by April. So in
Right.
other words, age-wise, I'm eligible to vote. Anong first step na gagawin nila? Walk us through, please.
Right. The first thing that you have to figure out is when your birthday is. Of
Okay.
course, you already know that. But your birthday is important because right now, we're not registering people who are not 18 yet.
Okay. All right.
Starting May 6 in 2015,
Okay.
that's the time when it's basically a free-for-all. You can register whatever your birthday is as long as you're 18 on the day of elections. But as of right now,
Okay.
you register only as soon as you turn 18.
All right. So
All right.
who are eligible to register now? 19 at least.
18, 19 above. Ganyan.
Ngayon.
Opo, ngayon.
Ngayon, 18
Right
ka
now.
na. Okay.
Right.
So if you're 18 now, you can register now.
Right away, yes.
Right away.
Yes.
If you're going to be 18 by 2016,
Yes.
then you can register next year, May 6,
Right.
2015. Okay?
Right.
So again, if you're 18 years old now and above, you can register right now, right this very day. And we're talking about, paano, bukas na bang registration ngayon, James?
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay.
Registration has been open since May 6, 2014.
Okay.
And so it's been going on for quite a while now. And we're open from Monday to Friday.
Okay.
And we're also open on Sundays for
Monday to
registration.
Friday and
And Sunday,
Sundays.
yeah.
So Saturday lang kayo closed.
Right, right. So we offer that. And second,
Okay.
we also offer other means of registration. Particularly, we have this thing called iregistro.com.
Okay.
iregistro.com allows you to fill up your registration forms online
Okay.
so that you can just submit that form to the election officer when you go there. Excuse
me.
Yes, sir.
So you go to iregistro.com, fill up the application, and of course you have to print it.
You print it. Yes,
Okay,
you print it.
So meron kang hard copy na
Yes,
dadalhin
dadalhin mo na.
Saan mo dinadala?
Dadalhin nyo po, magkaparehistro kayo
Yeah.
sa election officer, office of the election officer
Okay.
in the city or municipality where you're going to vote.
Okay.
So for instance, if you live in Quezon City, you go to the city hall, you find your district there, and then that's where you register.
Okay. So again, if you're a first-time voter, you've
Right.
never voted before, to find out where your Commission on Elections office or officers are,
Yes,
pupunta ka sa inyong munisipyo
exactly.
or pupunta ka sa City Hall. Okay, that's the place to go.
Yes po, kasi
Alright.
ang COMELEC office, we really cluster around the city hall.
okay.
So in
Okay.
almost all municipalities, that's where you'll
So
find
hindi
us.
lang information sila, andun sila.
Nandun kami. Yes, sir.
All right.
Nandun
So,
yung registration.
again, sa munisipyo or sa City Hall.
That's right.
All right.
That's right.
Now,
Requirements.
requirements. Now, sabi nyo, kailangan 18 and above.
Yes, sir.
Umpisa muna natin sila. So, if you're 18 above, you can register already. Ngayon, requirements.
Right. You have to bring valid ID.
Okay.
Okay? Valid ID means
Okay.
like a school ID, for instance. If you're older than 18, perhaps a driver's license.
Okay.
Passport will also be honored. I guess what's important is what we don't honor. Because
Okay.
marami po ang nagdadala sa amin, halimbawa mga barangay certificate,
Di pwede yan.
hindi ina-honor yan.
Okay.
PNP certificate, hindi rin ina-honor
Okay.
yan.
Okay.
NBI clearance, we honor that, no? But yung
okay.
PNP certificate, hindi po. So those are the two IDs that we don't honor. Now,
Postal ID.
we honor that.
Okay,
That's a
postal
government
ID.
ID. Now, if you don't have ID, that's
Okay.
also, you don't have to worry so much because you can also be vouched for by a voter in the same municipality. So if you have, this is particularly important po for those housewives and sometimes house help who really don't have any sort of valid ID. They don't drive, they don't go to school and all that. So what happens is we have someone from the same municipality verifying their identity to the election officer, basically vouching for that person. So that can be done as well to prove your identity.
Example.
Example.
A household.
House help. Kunyari po.
sige.
House help.
Driver mo ako eh. Wala akong, wala,
Right.
may driver's license ako eh. Houseboy.
Houseboy.
Okay.
Apo, 18 na siya.
Okay.
Wala siyang ID. Wala siyang paraan para makakuha ng ID.
Okay.
Samahan niyo siya sa registration. And then when the election officer interviews him, kayo po, you're a registered voter, you say, siya yan, dito siya nakatira. And that vouching will be sufficient for registration purposes.
Okay. Ngayon, so do we have it covered already, mga 18 years old and above? So
Yes,
ang
sir.
gagawin nyo, if you're 18 years old now, this very day, this very moment that you're watching and above, and you want to register, and please do,
Yes, please.
ang gagawin nyo is magpunta kayo sa inyong munisipyo or magpunta kayo sa inyong city hall, and then find out where the COMELEC office is, and then all you have to bring is just one valid
Just
ID.
one valid ID.
One valid ID. School ID pwede ha?
Pwede po. As
School-
long as it's the current semester.
Okay, current please ha. By the way, when you say ID, wag naman yung expired.
Oo naman.
Okay ha. Driver's license, obviously, passport, NBI clearance is okay. And now, meron ng postal ID.
Postal ID.
Barangay ID po, hindi pwede.
Hindi po.
Pero that's kind of strange, James. Parang, barangay ID, sabihin, binavouch for ka ng barangay captain.
Right, but ang concern po namin dyan is that in a lot of cases we've found out that barangay officials, they refuse to give certifications or IDs to people that they know didn't vote for them.
Okay.
So there's a potential for,
may politika may
Yes.
politikang kasama.
Yeah, that can happen na nagkakaroon ng sitwasyon kung saan yung mga tao dinideny ng barangay ID, hindi sila ngayon makarehistro para bumoto.
Okay. So, we have that. Ngayon, how about birth certificate?
Birth certificates are used if the age of the voter is medyo questionable. No? So, for instance, if a voter looks like he can't be 18 or she can't be 18, then a birth certificate is allowed to be used. In the same vein, we also use proof of billing to vouch for, say, residents. One of the things that we've noticed po is sometimes we get addresses that are flagged for being suspicious because you have like 10 or 12 people claiming the same address. So we ask for proof of billing in those cases. But again, these are just to support your primary identification. So birth certificate, allowed po yan, pero basically just to prove your age, just to say that you're 18. We have big problems with age, especially in the provinces, where they're not very, I guess, how do you say, preoccupied with documentation of births. So kung minsan hindi alam ng tao kung ilang edad, kung ano na yung age niya.
Right.
So we need that for that.
Okay. How about for those who are eligible to vote because of age, pero hindi nakaboto itong past 2013. Hindi sila nagrehistro, hindi bumoto. So, the last national elections na sinalihan nila, palagay na lang natin 2010 or even prior to that. But they haven't been voting recently, and now they're saying 2016 presidential elections, I've decided I am going to exercise my right and my privilege to vote.
Right.
So, ano naman ang mga steps na mga ganon?
Well, first of all, doon sa mga gano'n na nakakamiss ng halalan, pero ngayon gusto nilang bumoto, kudos to them. That's very good. Pangalawa, the only thing that you really have to consider there is how many elections have you missed. If you've missed 2 consecutive elections, magkasunod, dalawang magkasunod, then you will be automatically deactivated, which means you can't vote, which means you do have to come in for reactivation. Not a new registration, just reactivation. Now, for purposes of the 2016 elections, these 2 elections that you should not have missed serially will be the barangay elections in 2013 and the national elections in 2013 also.
Okay.
So May and October. So
Okay.
if you'd missed just one of those, nakaboto ka ng barangay pero hindi ka nakaboto ng May, okay lang yan, that's fine. You're still an active voter. If you missed the barangay but you voted in May, then that's fine also. But if you missed both, barangay and May elections, then deactivated na kayo. If the last elections that you can remember participating in is, say, 2010, then likely deactivated na kayo. Just come in just to make sure, no? That's what we call validation. You make sure that you're still in the list as an active voter so that you can reactivate. Now, the thing that's most important and the thing that's really causing us to lose a lot of sleep is that there are a lot of Filipinos who, even though they're registered, even though they were able to vote in the barangay, will not be able to vote in 2016 because they have no biometrics.
Ayan,
that's the problem.
Pakiliwanag nga, please. So, nakaboto, these are people who were able to vote in 2013.
Yes.
Bumoto sila sa barangay captain nila. Yes. Nakaboto sila sa mga senador, sa local government officials.
Yes. Pero walang biometrics.
Okay, ano ba itong biometrics na ito?
In 2004 po, we started the biometrics project. From 2004 onwards, lahat na nagpaparehistro, automatic na yan may biometrics. Biometrics are 3 things, no? The digital image of your face, the digital image of your fingerprints, and your signature.
So in other words, pagpunta mo sa COMELEC, dapat meron kang
may camera kami doon,
may camera, may webcam.
Yes, sir.
And it's not just digital.
No.
It's a webcam. And then the other thing is they make you sign on a electronic pad.
Right, a pressure pad.
Okay.
And then you have an automated fingerprint taker.
Okay.
Which doesn't use ink, it just uses light scanning technology. So your fingerprints are automatically recorded. So from 2004 onwards, automatic na yan sa mga bagong rehistro.
Okay.
But in 2004, we already had 48 million voters. So, kasama ko doon. So, yung mga botante na yon, na botante na bago pa nagkaroon ng biometrics project, they were allowed to vote even without biometrics. But in 2013, a law was passed saying that if you don't have biometrics by October 2015, you are not going to be allowed to vote in 2016. So now, we've been catching up with the 48 million then na walang biometrics pero pinapayagang bumoto. And we're down to 6.3 million.
Okay.
There are now 6.3 million registered voters who were previously able to vote
in 2013.
In 2013, the latest, pero wala pa ring biometrics. Ngayon, kung hindi sila magpa-validate by October 2015, which is the deadline.
Which is next year pa, ha? Pero
yeah,
it's gonna go so fast, so you better do it 2014.
Right.
All right.
So kung hindi sila makapagpa-biometrics po by then, hindi sila makakaboto sa 2016. Again, 6.3 million, the bulk of which will be found in NCR, Region 3, and Region 4A and 4B.
Ibig sabihin na naka-biometrics yung mga ibang region?
Yes.
NCR and Region 3.
Mas marami kasi tayo.
Okay. Ngayon, kung nag-register kayo and you know na hindi kayo kinuna ng picture, webcam po ito ha, webcam. In other words, may computer, may webcam. And wala kayo nung electronic pad where you had to sign your name and you had to put your prints. Ibig sabihin nun, wala pa kayong biometrics. Okay?
That's true.
Ngayon, for people who can't recall, yung parang, oh, may nakita akong computer, but ewan ko kung tinype lang yun. What is one sure way of finding out whether you'll be able to vote in 2016 or not? Tapusin muna natin to ha. Kung hindi kayo bumoto ng 2013 twice, kung hindi kayo bumoto ng 2010, you're out. You're out of the picture.
Yes.
Period. You go to your nearest COMELEC office and register again.
Reactivate lang, sir.
Reactivate. Okay?
Reactivate.
Ngayon, if you want to make sure, hindi kayo sigurado, biometric ba hindi naanan ko? Hindi.
Yan.
So, what do they do to make sure that they went through the biometrics? Kasi kuminsan, nakapila ka, meron kang tapos, down ang computer. Di ba
Yes,
nangyari?
meron po yun.
Down ito, bumalik ka na lang, meron ka na mga papeles, nakaboto ka naman, yung pala, hindi ka nakadaan. What's one sure way to make sure na naka-biometrics ka and you're green and go and clear to vote on 2016?
The one sure way is to actually go to the COMELEC and get yourself validated.
Where the office where you're going to vote?
Yes,
Kung
where you're
Makati ka,
registered.
punta ka sa Makati.
Tama po.
Kung sa Cagayan, wherever.
Right.
Okay.
But since not everyone's going to be able to do that,
Okay.
pwede po sila magpunta sa COMELEC website.
Okay.
COMELEC website is at www.comelec.gov.ph.
Okay.
We have a thing there called the Precinct Finder.
Okay.
Pag tinype nyo yung pangalan nyo and then your details, birthday, etc., do sa Precinct Finder, it'll show your record to you. And basically, it'll tell you if you have your biometrics there. If it says no biometrics found, then that means you have to get validated. If it says records found, then that means you're ready for the 2016 elections. You're registered, you have biometrics, you're ready to go.
So, ano ang sign na, let's say, you're able to go to, by the way, it's comelec.gov.ph,
Yes,
okay? Punta kayo sa Precinct Finder, type out your name and details, probably your age, your birthday, your address, siguro.
Hindi po, just the name and birthday.
Okay, name and birthday. Ngayon, pag na-type mo na itong name and birthday, lalabas ang pangalan mo ron. Paglabas ang pangalan mo ngayon doon, let's say, lumabas sa James Jimenez. Now, if there's a red flag to your name and you can't vote, what else will you see? Ano bang nakalagay doon? James Jimenez can vote in this precinct, precinct number.
Okay, yung normal po, and for instance, you're fully fully updated.
Okay.
It'll show your name.
Okay.
It'll show the precinct where you're supposed to vote.
All right.
And then it'll include a notification, records found. Records found.
All under your name yan?
All under your name.
Okay.
Right. If you have problems with your records, the first thing, one of the things that you'll probably see is, first, either it'll say no records found for your name, for James Jimenez, which means you're not even registered at all.
Okay.
Or you're deactivated. Second, it'll put your name, your precinct information, and it'll have a notification. Notification says, biometric records not found or incomplete.
Ayun.
You see that, and it's in red text, you can't miss it, and that means you have to go validate at the COMELEC office where you're registered to vote.
Okay. And it wouldn't hurt siguro if you make a hard copy of it, print it out.
Oh, yes,
di ba?
yes.
I-print out mo, tapos mapunta ka sa COMELEC office, pakita mo, ito ang sinasabi rito sa akin. And then, one more thing you can do also, kung green and go ka naman, kung all clear ka, gumawa ka rin ng printout,
Right.
and at least, you have something to show your election registrar.
Yes.
All right?
Pag election day na. Sir, may I add, the third thing is we've been sending out letters to people without biometrics.
Okay. Sending out letters. When we come back,
Yes.
hold that thought. Babalik po tayo sa isa pang requirement. Okay, so we're talking about the all-important elections is coming 2016. Dapat bumoto kayo. Pangalawa, pinaka-importante ito because it's a presidential elections. We have Mr. James Jimenez, spokesperson of the Commission on Elections, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to Open House with Gerry Cornejo, where we feature people, places, and things that are in the news or should be in the news. This is of national importance because we are discussing how to register for the 2016 presidential elections. And please vote. Please vote, di ba? Para sa akin, the worst, di ba? To me, sa akin, by the way, we have Mr. James Jimenez, the spokesperson of the Commission on Elections. Sa akin, James, ang pananaw ko lang, very shortly lang, yung mga hindi bumoboto, I think they're worse than corrupt politicians. Because yung corrupt na sila eh. Di ba? Pero yung meron kang pagkakataon, here's your opportunity to do something to make this country, to make this society a better one, and you
don't do
ignored it.
Yeah.
Mas malaking kasalanan
Actually,
siguro
that's one of the core messages that we put out, especially during voter education, is that if you hate corrupt officials, you have to understand that corrupt officials are elected into office by people who don't vote. Because, you know, it's the corrupt officials who are very eager to get voted. So they mobilize all sorts of people. How can you counteract that kung ikaw, na nakakaintindi, hindi ka naman bumoboto? So you're just as bad. I mean, you know, corrupt officials, that's you're part of the problem, I think.
Right. So be part of the solution and register and vote. Ngayon, pinag-usapan na po natin, repasuhin lang natin, ano? You can register right now if you're 18 years old and above. And you've never voted, register right now. Go to your nearest COMELEC office, which is going to be sa munisipyo or sa City Hall. Go there and inquire how to register. 18 years old and above. Ngayon, if you will be 18 on the day of the elections, which is May 2016, do not register. Kung 17 ka lang ngayon, huwag ka magre-register. Magre-register kayo next year, May 6, 2015. You can register if you're turning 18 by election day on May 2016. Ngayon, tinanong din natin kay James, very quickly lang ito, no? Paano yung mga hindi bumoto? Ngayon, sabi ni Mr. James Jimenez, if nagkaroon kayo ng ganito na lang, James, para maliwanag. Kung nagkaroon kayo ng problema, itong nakaraan na election, for whatever reason, like for instance, kamukha nitong kasama natin dito, si Mr. Rolly Garcia. He's registered, he's got an ID,
Can I see the
he's
ID?
got everything. Hindi pa rin nakaboto. Tama? Hindi ka nakaboto? Well, find out. Magpunta tayo sa Commission on Elections, sa inyong munisipyo, sa inyong City Hall. Find out bakit kayo hindi nakaboto para makorek.
Right.
Habang matagal pa, you still have 2 years. Well, year and a half. Okay?
And if I may, Rolly, this is a great example, no? Because look at the ID. First of all, should I?
Yeah.
The first thing that you notice about the ID is that it has essentially a picture of a fingerprint. Okay? Picture lang siya ng fingerprint.
Pwede yung paki-zoom lang sa...
Tingnan mo yung ID mo. Sisikat ka lang ng konti. Anyway, so, but just, there you go. It's a picture of a fingerprint.
Okay.
Which means that this is an old ID. Which means that likely, wala pang biometrics si Mr. Rolly. Okay. So he has to go to the COMELEC now to validate.
Okay.
He's one of the 6.3 million that we're talking about.
Okay.
The second thing you notice is that the signature on the ID is of Chairman Benjamin Abalos, which means this is, again, like I said, a rather old ID. So you have to get this updated. No? Ang sinasabi nga namin, kung 6 to sakto. Kasi bago na yung chairman natin, 6 to brilliantes. No? So that will assure you that your new ID is actually biometrics compliant. The other thing, and the reason I made the big deal of the picture of the fingerprint is that now you won't see a picture of the fingerprint anymore. Instead, you'll see a QR code, which is basically the fingerprint in digital form.
Okay.
So it'll look very different from this po. It'll have two squares, left and right, and it's a QR code, not a analog image.
Yung parang, it's hard to describe it, but I know what you're talking about.
Now, this thing is what we call the acknowledgement receipt. This acknowledgement receipt is the basically the last portion of the registration form. They clip it so that you can keep it as proof that you filed your application for registration. So congratulations, you kept it. But you really have to validate. Otherwise, you might not be able to vote, or you will not be able to vote in 2016.
Ngayon, again, kung hindi kayo nakaboto, and if you want to make sure that you'll be eligible to vote, magpunta na kayo sa COMELEC.
Yes,
magpunta na kayo, bigay nyo lahat ng mga detalya. Ngayon, habang maaga pa. So whatever it is that is lacking, no, meron pa remedyo.
Meron pa po.
Kasi mga iba nagpupunta, ay matagal pa. 1 month pa bago mag-deadline. 1 month, imposible na yan. 1 month, you're gonna have kilometric lines.
Right.
1 month are the people na sasabihin nila, alas 5 pa kami ng umaga rito eh. Di ba? Alas 4 na ng hapon, di pa kami nakakapasok.
Right.
That's what's going to happen when there's 1 month to go.
Right.
But it's only 2014. People do it now.
It
You
takes
have
less than 15 minutes, sir.
less than 50, and you have 6 days.
And you have 6 days in a week.
6 days in a week. Bukas po ang mga COMELEC offices, Monday to Friday, office hours. Hindi po ba nagpapalit pa mga office? 8 to 5?
8 to 5 po.
8 to 5, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Monday to Friday, including Sunday. Saturday lang po ang day off ng mga COMELEC. Okay? So hindi nyo sabihin, nagtatrabaho, Sunday, take 1 Sunday off. This is going to be so worth it. Okay, ngayon, again, kung medyo meron kayong access sa computer and you want to make sure hindi na kayo kailangan magpunta sa inyong munisipyo o city hall, you go to www.comelec.gov.ph and then you look for precinct finder and then you put your name down there. Meron naman mga fields yun.
May mga fields po yan.
Okay, nasasabihin, pangalan, birthday,
Apo.
and then it's going to come out there. To be sure. Ngayon, how sure are you, James, na pag lumabas na ng pangalan mo, no red flag, no indication, green and go, 100%?
100%.
100%, okay? So, kung makakita kayo ng gano'n, kung pwede, i-print nyo na. I-print nyo na as proof para at least meron kayong hawak-hawak.
Absolutely.
No? Okay. But there's nothing like making sure that you'll be able to vote. It's so important. Magpunta na kayo sa COMELEC habang matagal. Has this been the first time, James, na ganito katagal ang registration period? Or has it been happening during the past years,
Well, in the past, sir, the average has always been a year. But now it's a little longer because now it's a year and 7 months. So we really started early because we know how important 2016 is. So we wanted to give as much opportunity as possible.
Now, how many voters, eligible voters are you expecting?
To register as new voters, we're expecting approximately 3 million, sir.
3 million new?
3 million new.
Okay.
Ito yung new po na ka-18 lamang. Marami tayong new voters na 19 pataas na hindi pa nagpaparehistro ever since.
Yes.
Oo, but
Mga ilan yan?
yun po, that's about 2 million to 2.5.
Okay.
But the 18, just turned 18, that's about 3 million.
Okay. Ngayon, yung mga OFW.
OFWs, we now have more than 1 million in our
More than 1
register.
million?
Yeah.
Okay.
But our target is to get 1 million more. That's our slogan
meron
there.
tayong 1 million ngayon na registered na
Yes.
pwedeng bumoto.
Yes, sir.
So there's another million who didn't bother to register or weren't able to.
Well, there are, according to the records of the Commission on Filipinos Overseas, there are more than 10 million Filipinos abroad.
Oo nga eh.
Right. But again, the uptake to the overseas voting has been rather slow. So right now we have more than 1 million already, which we're very happy about. But we're targeting 1 million more. Hopefully, of course, if we get 2 million more, that's fine. No? But yun po yung pacing nung registration doon.
Hindi ba siguro naisip ko lang ito ngayon sana yung pag-register sa OWA bago ko magkakaroon ng
Meron,
eleksyon.
sir.
Ha?
Meron tayo.
Dapat meron ka ng sabay na register, one-stop shop.
Actually, sa PDOS namin sinasabay po. Yung PDOS, if you know about it, it's Pre-Departure Orientation Seminars.
Okay.
So kasama yan. We also have satellite offices already operating in NAIA, all NAIAs, the OWA, the POEA, and the CFO, Commission of Filipinos Overseas. So every overseas worker-centric organization in the government now has a satellite registration. We're working to put satellite registration offices also in big maritime hiring agency buildings, because that's where the seamen congregate. That's where they spend most of their days. So we're going to put up in those places as well.
Pero kung meron tayong 8 million overseas Filipino workers, bakit parang napakaliit naman ang ambisyon natin na makakuha lang ng, I mean, as of now, but
Ng
1
1:1.
million lang.
Oo.
Ano yun, maraming TNT ba raw? Maraming illegal doon? Maraming, no, I mean, we're talking
Yes.
about 8 million legal OFWs?
Known, sir, known.
Known.
Which means that it probably includes undocumented aliens.
Ah, okay.
Because in other countries, undocumented aliens are very hesitant to come in to register.
Yeah.
No, but what we always tell them is, you know, if you're an undocumented alien, you come in to register, hindi naman namin kayo isusuplong. No? So we will still protect your identity. I mean, of course, we'll encourage you to be documented, but that's ultimately your choice. So that's one problem. The other problem is that the 10 million also includes immigrants, which means people who have moved over there with the intention of becoming citizens. So for them, it's also a question of, you know, do I still want to participate or not? So medyo, yung 10 million po na yun, that's just a raw number basically of known Filipinos abroad.
Okay. Now, meron bang, is there such a thing as, pwede ba mag-register by proxy na hindi ka
Hindi
talaga
po.
Hindi pwede.
Hindi pwede.
Hindi pwede
Non-appearance,
because of the biometrics.
wala pong ganun.
Hindi pwede. Okay, so pag meron magsasabi sa inyo, ako na lang bahala dyan, ayusin ko yung ano mo, makakaboto ka. It's a scam.
Right.
Okay, it's a scam, it's a sham. Dadating ka ron, hindi ka makakaboto. Alright? So, o baka maaresto ka pa, bigyan ka ng fake na ano.
ID.
Yeah.
If I may, especially, you mentioned kanina, sir, yung mga last minute sumisingit, no? During the last 3 months of registration, that's when the lines start getting long, really long. At 1 month, basically, you can't even get cars into the municipio anymore because of people, no?
Right.
So, it's in that period, that 3 months before elections, that's when you get people coming up to people who are in queue, nakapila, sasabihin, bigyan mo ko 250 pesos, ayusin ko sa loob, paglabas ko may ID ka na. Fake po yun.
Fake yun.
Fake yun.
Right.
Hindi totoo yun.
Right.
No one can register in your name. You have to be there personally. The camera has to see you. You have to have your fingerprints taken. And you have to sign your name on the signature pad personally. There is absolutely no way around that.
And also, pinaka-importante nito, please wag last minute.
Yes.
Di ba? 3 months is already the critical panic period na yan.
Panic na yan sa amin,
3
sir.
months. So we're talking about March or even February.
Yeah.
February, March, April, panic time na yan. Kaya sabihin nyo, 2016 pa naman, 2014 lang. Now's the time to do it. Now is the time to do it. Also, lalong-lalo na kung may problema ka, hindi ka nakaboto for one reason or another, sinabi ng COMELEC kasi wala ka nito, wala ka noon, do it now, and you'll have a lot of time, you know, to remedy the situation.
Also, we have some holidays coming up, and COMELEC doesn't observe holidays, so
there
we
you
work
go.
through the holidays.
Okay.
Except December 25, I mean, you know.
Except December 25, remember, bukas po sila ng Sunday. Totoo ba yan?
Totoo yan, sir. Totoo yan. Totoo yan.
Ha?
I've had a lot.
Hindi kaya skeleton crew lang pag
No,
Sunday.
no, no,
Full complement, ha?
Yes, full complement po yan.
Alright.
In fact, I make it a point to go around COMELEC offices on
Wonderful.
Sundays just to make sure that people are getting served, you know, and they are. The sad part is there are not as many people on Sundays as there are on weekdays.
Okay.
So, I mean, you know, the facility is there for people. Sayang naman. But again, like I said, we're in the lull period right now. So hopefully, the more we talk about it, the more we remind people about it, then they'll come.
No, to me, this shouldn't be the lull period. This should be the let's go.
I agree.
Let's go period. Walang lull period. This is it.
Tama.
You know, this is it. This is when you move. This is when you grasp the moment. This is when you take the opportunity na walang mahabang pila. Kung may problema, magkakaroon ng solusyon. You know, and so how many people will be voting? Anong projection ng COMELEC? How many people will be voting on May 2016?
We expect approximately 56 million, sir.
Out of a population of 100 million?
100 10, I think, million.
Okay.
Apo.
Ngayon, ano ang itong the past elections, how many people have been voting?
Well, we've been mostly holding steady at about 75%.
75. That's
Yeah,
pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Oh,
But presidential elections, they spike up to the 80s.
okay.
So talagang marami po pag presidential elections. And we expect the same pattern here.
Right.
If it's midterm elections, it's about 75%.
Okay, so May 2016, we're going to be electing the President of the Philippines, the Vice President of the Philippines, 12 senators.
12 senators.
How many? 200 something congressmen?
That's a moving number right now,
Oo.
sorry, but about 200 plus.
200 plus, kasama na rin itong mga
Party
party list.
list.
Diba?
Opo.
Kasama din ng party
Party
list.
list.
Mga mayor.
Mayor,
Oo.
governors, vice governors, provincial councils, mayors, vice mayors, city councils,
Right.
and then municipal councils.
Right. So,
Hanggang bukal, in other words.
so it's going to be very important elections. It's going to be affecting not only the national scene but also your very own communities.
Yes.
Hindi ba? Kasi local government po ito. So si mayor, si vice mayor, and yung mga konsehal, you'll be electing them again,
Yes.
right? So again, please register now, di ba? Para sa akin, panic time na ngayon eh. You know, do it now. And again, a lot of you watching right now can go to www.comelec.gov.ph. Okay? Meron din siguro mga instructions dito, meron mga facts
Oh, yes.
dito, mga frequently asked questions.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So do that, and then one way of finding out if you're eligible to vote is to go to your COMELEC office or to go online. Okay? While you still have a lot of time to go.
And if I may answer,
yes.
you can also send your messages direct to COMELEC through Twitter. Marami tayong
Okay.
kabataan ng Twitter. Send it to @COMELEC.
Okay.
That's the A sign, then
Yes.
COMELEC. Or you can send it to me at Jab Jimenez. JAB Jimenez. Yeah. That's my
Okay.
handle.
Okay, at COMELEC sa mga nagtitweet, no?
Opo.
At COMELEC and at Jab Jimenez, J-A-B
Yes, sir.
Jimenez. Okay, sir, you have 1 minute. Ang spokesperson po ng Commission on Elections, Mr. James Jimenez. Ito po ang ating 100 plus million and 50 million voters. Ano
Right.
ano pong message ng COMELEC sa kanila?
As we've been saying, Sir Gerry, no, the most important thing right now really is to get out and register. The registration period is now less than a year to go. We're going to end it on October 31, 2015. Please do not wait until the very last moment to register. Right now, it's still very easy. You'll be done in about 10 to 15 minutes. It's not going to be that way forever. So please register. Your vote is important. Your participation in the politics of our nation is crucial to our prosperity.
Sir, tama na, balikan natin. Ano yung October 13? Ano yung sabi mo?
October 31 is the deadline for registration.
October 31 when?
2015.
2015.
Yes. That's next year.
Paano yung pagkatapos na hindi na pwede?
Hindi na po.
Okay, so kung hindi ka makaregister by October 2015,
31, 2015, wala na.
okay. So, ang panic time there is,
3 months before.
okay. So, October 2015. So, we have,
August.
okay, somewhere there. So, please, while you still have 1 year, let's do it.
Yes.
So, with that, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. James Jimenez.
Thank you po.
Marami pong salamat sa Commission on Elections, sa chairman, at sa mga commissioner na pinahiram niya sa amin sandali si Mr. James Jimenez, who's also the Director of
Education Information.
Education and Information. When we come back, we're going to talk about, we were just talking about clean elections. We're going to be talking about clean air with our friends from the Coalition of Clean Air Advocates. I'm Gerry Cornejo. I'll be back right after this. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Open House with Gerry Cornejo, where we feature people, places, and things that are in the news or who should be in the news. And now our topic is November, Clean Air Month. And we have with us the President of the Coalition of Clean Air Advocates, Mr. Jojo Berano Jr. Jojo, welcome.
Thank you for having me, sir.
Ngayon, Jojo, ang ganda ng balita ni Jojo. You better listen to this, especially you car owners and those who are clean air advocates, di ba? Kasi marami ngayong mga clean air advocates, ayaw na magkotse. Or binibili nila electric cars, electric vehicles.
Bicycle, yeah.
But this coming Monday, itong November 17, tell us about what's going to happen.
Yeah, we're celebrating the National Check Your Car Day on Monday, November 17. So there are 500 private emission testing centers all over the Philippines that are participating. So all you have to do is go there, have your car checked, and then ask advice from the technicians if you fail the emission test. And but you can't use it for registration though. It's just for the maintenance purposes, which we are advocating to car owners.
Okay, pakipakita nga yung poster natin of the day itself, the thing that we had earlier. There you go. So it's National Check Your Car Day. And this is mostly sponsored by your organization,
Yes,
the
sir.
Coalition of Clean Air Advocates. Anong purpose nito? Because anong pinaka-objective nito, Jojo?
Napansin po namin na the pollution level is really getting out of hand. So we want to instill to the vehicle owners, the importance of having their cars properly maintained. So ang nangyayari po kasi, minsan they skip the emission testing process, they use the non-appearance method, which is actually the main problem now of the Land Transportation Office and also our coalition.
Okay, so back to studio, please. So yung free emission test na yan, it's going to be this coming Monday, the 17th of November.
Yes.
At saka buong araw po ito,
Yes, it's from 8 to 5.
8 to 5. And there are, so you go to an accredited, what do you call it?
Private emission testing center.
Okay, private emission testing center. For those of you who have vehicles and you've registered your cars or you've been registering your cars, punta kayo dun sa pinupuntahan nyo lagi, di ba?
Tama po.
And then, pwede nyo ipacheck kung okay pa yung sasakyan nyo.
Opo.
No? Now, this is a voluntary thing so that makatulong naman tayo para mawala ng pollution.
Opo.
Di ba yung ating lipunan? Di ba? Ngayon, do you also offer remedial services or diagnostic lang ang gagawin nyo?
Diagnostic lang po because we're not allowed to do the maintenance.
Okay.
But we can give them the emission readings, but once they have it, pwede nang i-explain ng technician sa kanila what's wrong with the vehicle, kung anong dapat nila ipacheck.
I see. Of course, the worst thing that could happen is, worst scenario, engine overhaul.
Yes.
Worst scenario. Ngayon,
Yeah.
ano yung mga iba? Yung mga iba yata, they just have to, anong pinakasimple na, nagkakaroon ka ng emission, yung pala, ganito lang.
Sometimes air filter lang pala ang problema.
Air filter lang.
Especially yung mga diesel vehicles.
Oo.
Pag nakalimutan nilang linisin o palitan yung air filter, babagsak ko normally yun sa opacity testing.
Okay. Now, how about when it comes to the more modern cars that are, meron ng IC? Di ba? Meron na silang computerized na
ECU,
yun nila.
ECU, yeah.
ICU. So, paano nang gagawin doon?
Ano lang po ito, once you have the emission readings,
Oo.
it will also tell you if it's in tip-top condition. Kasi if it fails the emission test, that means it needs adjustment.
Ayun.
Yes.
Okay. And this is going to be this coming Monday. It's one day. It's free.
It's free.
It's free. So, otherwise, magkano ang bayad dito?
Normally, it's between 400 to 450 pesos.
Hindi, but that's for registration
For
purposes.
registration.
Pero pag nagka-check, ganun din, ano?
Normally, wala po kasing gumagawa nun eh.
Yeah, oo,
That's why we are encouraging
Right.
vehicle owners to try this
Oo.
para after they have their cars tuned up, they can go to the emission testing center,
Oo.
find out if naayos nga.
Okay, Jojo, let me ask you this. How can a motorist, a car owner, be sure that accredited yung emission testing center na yon?
Normally, may mga licenses po yung naka-display sa emission centers.
No, but is there a seal or is there something outside even before you go in na magpapatunay sa, oy, okay to, walang ganon?
Meron ho,
din?
meron hong sign na it's accredited by the Department of Trade and Industry,
Okay.
authorized by the Department of Transportation.
Okay, so look for those, ha? Hanapin niyo yung mga sign na yon. Of course, if it's the same emission testing center that you've been going to for the past years, walang problema. Andun pa rin yun. Pero mayroong mga natatanggalan na lisensya. Ano?
Meron ho.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, but otherwise, usually, yung mga gano'n naman, they just close shop. So if they're still open now, look for at least, sabi mo, are you accredited? At dapat meron silang accreditation mula sa DTI at saka sa DOTC.
Authorization naman.
Authorization by the DOTC.
Yes.
And then, can they call up your organization to find out more details about this?
Yeah, they can.
Bibigyan natin itong
Yeah,
number
that's
na ito.
yung number po na
Okay.
nandyan.
If you want to know more about the event this coming Monday, where you can get free emission testing for your vehicles, kahit ano pong ba ang vehicle to, kahit truck, kahit bus,
Kahit ano po.
kahit ano
po.
any kind of vehicle, all right? You can text this number 0915-494-9114, okay? So 0915-494-9114. And you will be getting in touch with the Coalition of Clean Air Advocates. All right? Ngayon, ano pong message nila sa ating mga kababayan, Mr. Jojo Verano?
Sana po sa Monday, makipagtulungan po tayo. Join us in our advocacy for cleaner air. Lahat naman po tayo humihinga sa ating kasyudad, sa ating cities. So, yun lang po ang pwede naming i-request sa inyo na masanay tayo magpa-test ng ating mga sasakyan. Huwag po tayong mag-resort to non-appearance testing. Lalo pong sumasama ang ating air pollution level pagka nagre-resort tayo sa ganong practices.
Okay. And last but not least, ito very quickly lang, Jojo. Gano'ng katagal ba bago tayo magkaroon talaga ng mga more electric cars than... Yan talaga, wala nang pollution yan. Walang combustion, di ba?
Wala.
So, how long do you see it happening before we can have something like that in the Philippines?
I think right now we have the electric trikes, and then they introducing the electric jeepneys.
Okay.
But it's for urban places pa lang. Kasi limited yung range niya.
Okay.
Yeah, like the e-trikes, they can only go 40 kilometers. Then it needs recharging.
All right.
Ang jeepneys naman, 80 kilometers.
Okay.
So, we're looking at siguro the next 5 years.
Okay.
Pagka they'll come up with a better technology sa batteries.
Okay, there you go. So, as much as possible, syempre, ang pinaka-okay ngayon, it's still kind of impractical to get fully 100% into electric cars and electric vehicles. Make sure your vehicles are well maintained, okay? And one of the ways to do it is this coming Monday, November 17, free emission testing in accredited emission testing centers throughout the country. And again, if you want to know more details, get in touch with the Coalition of Clean Air Advocates at 0915-494-9114. Maraming pong salamat, Jojo. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
I'm Gerry Cornejo. You've been watching Open House. Until next time, where we feature people, places, and things that are in the news or should be in the news. I love you. Take care. God bless you.